We take her out. We go do stuff. I would take her to Chuck E. Cheese all the time. You can go there. They had COVID in '84. So you can't even survive in there. That's what, I mean, Chuck E. Cheese is rough. I don't know if you've been there in a while. They look like they're trying to go out of business and they can't. They filed for bankruptcy and they're still open. They called Blockbuster and they're like, how do you get out? We want out. They're updating nothing. That Chucky band is just robotic. I mean, the drummer doesn't even turn on. It just sits like that the whole time. They sell booze to parents now. They just give them buckets of Bud Light. They're drunk in a booth at 9 a.m. And someone drives those kids home. I don't see a bunch of Ubers and Lyfts showing up. There was a Chuck E. Cheese that got caught. If people didn't eat all their pizza, they would just put it back out on the buffet. And that would shut down any normal business. And with Chuck E. Cheese, they have thrived. I mean, when I read the story, I was like, I thought that's what they were doing. I thought we agreed that that's fine. I didn't even know what the article was about. Our daughter still sleeps in our bed, too. And parents don't like that when you say it. They're like, you got to keep them outside. Don't look at them. It's my fault. So we had a kid late in life. We have one kid. And so we're kind of hitting all the sites. And I would be, when I get home, travel a bunch and I get home, I'd want us to all sleep in the bed together. And I've kind of built up a habit now, and it's happening. So it's tough, though, because kids don't know how to sleep. I mean, she makes king bed feel like a twin. I mean, I'm on the edge. When I sleep alone in a hotel, I have to sleep with my head on the nightstand. It's the only way I know how to go to bed. She gets sideways, upside down. If you woke up upside down tomorrow, you would go to the hospital. She's also apparently going through menopause because she's the hottest human being that's ever lived. I mean, I'm freezing at night. She just kicks all the covers off, and you're like, yeah, no, you go ahead. It's your bed. We're lucky to be in it. She's got to get out at some point, you know? I don't know. She'll be 37 years old. Hey, can I get in the bed with you guys? Her kids are upstairs asleep in their bed. Her husband left a while ago. He ain't gonna put up with that. Coughing in public. That's a wrap. I mean, you drink water wrong at a restaurant, just go walk in traffic. The whole restaurant just stops. Your table would be like, get out of here. Get out of here. And you know who that's going to hurt the most, the coughing in public? My parents. That's what I feel, because that's one of their favorite things to do, is cough in public. They love it. That's all they do. They cough everywhere. My dad's choking constantly. Just always, if he's not choking, that's when we get worried. That's how much choking he's doing. We go to a restaurant, and they're like, is your dad okay? I'm like, oh, I didn't even, yeah, that's just what he does, you know? But because I feel like you could either, I lost some weight during COVID. You could go two ways. If you wanted to gain weight, this is your time. I mean, everybody's fine with it. You can just do it. But I've been doing all that up until COVID. I've always lived by that rule. So during COVID, I was like, I need to stop. And my neighbor started working out in his driveway. And so he was like, let's work out in my driveway. And, you know, it's hard to make a lot of excuses during COVID. You're like, I'm just so busy. You know, I got a lot of stuff to do today, and he's just out there. So I started doing it with him, and he had a trainer, and I'm not a big fan of working out. Never done it. And I told him, I was like, I just want to do upper body stuff. And they go, all right, well, how about we just do legs every day? That's all it is legs. I think it's a huge conspiracy with trainers that you never actually do your upper body. And when you are doing it, I mean, I asked him, I go, is this upper body? He goes, yeah. I go, yeah, because I'm bending down quite a bit. What I eat that's the main cliff. So I grew up in Old Hickory, Tennessee, and we used to climb down this cliff in Old Hickory Lake, and we'd done it a ton of times. And so one day I slip and fall. So my friend that I'm with, he goes and gets my mom. There was a guy fishing in a boat down in the lake, and so he sees me, and he gets me into the boat. And then he takes me over to some stairs, which he had to be like, why didn't he just use these stairs? I mean, they were right next to that cliff. Like, it didn't even make sense. There was two guys at the bottom of the steps, and he goes, hey, this kid fell. Can you carry him up? So they carry me up, and my mom's in an ambulance in her pajamas My dad, who I think everybody knows now is a magician, and he's doing a show in a full tuxedo. So when they get to the hospital, the doctor starts talking to my parents. I mean, my mom looks homeless. My dad's in a tuxedo. It looks like they're divorced and someone's not paying child support. So we have never known who was in the boat or the guys that carried me up those stairs. We've never known who it was. And we always wanted to thank them. I mean, those guys truly saved my life. And we could just never find out who it was. So we've never known. So I tell you that to tell you, last year, my dad he's doing a show. He does these magic shows in prisons. So he's doing a show in a prison. And during the show, one of the inmates just stands up and says, "I know your son," which is probably not the best place as a father to hear that. Just like, "I know your boy." He keeps his mouth shut. He's good people. So my dad, he goes, "Hey," he's like, "All right." He goes, "How do you know my son?" And he was one of the guys that carried me up those stairs that day. I mean, I promise, I was 12 years old, and we've never known who carried me up those stairs. And it was him and his brother, and then his brother saw me on the Tonight Show and was like, "That's that kid that we carried up those stairs that day." So it's pretty crazy. And so since then, I've been actually bringing him out to shows, and I'm going to bring him out tonight. And no, he's not here. He's in prison. But, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Trust me. Look, he would love to be here, trust me. I mean, yeah, he'd kill to be here, to be honest. But there's one day I'll get him. I did find out why he was in prison, which was crazy. So it was that same day. They just carried a body down those stairs. And you can imagine the frustration to then be handed another body. And you're like, "Dude, are you serious, right? Like, we just did this, man, you know?" All right, that part I made up. But the rest of it's true. Our daughter is in 3rd grade. And for 1st grade, she started taking the bus. And it was the first time she ever took the bus. So if you know as a parent, you walk them to the bus stop. It's very fun. And so we got her on the bus. She went to school. At the end of the school day, someone from the school called my cell phone. They have my wife's cell phone. They have my cell phone. They called my cell phone, and she said, "Hey, do you know what bus number your daughter's supposed to be on?" And I said, "I'm her dad." I said, "Are you crazy?" Like, I was like, "This is how you thought you would get this information, was to call the dad?" You saw a mom and dad's cell phone. You go, "I bet the dad knows." I was like, "Do you have parents? Have you ever seen a family before?" You thought, "Let's call the husband?" Unless there's 2 husbands, you should never call a husband a day in your life. I would rather you ask a lady that doesn't know her. I think she could get to the bottom of it quicker than I can. I had to go get her. I go, "All right, I'll come get her. Tell me the name of this school and I'll come get her." Where does she go? My job is like, you gotta protect, I guess, the house, I guess. I don't know. If someone comes in, I don't have a gun to protect us. I have a pocket knife. That's what I have next to the bed. Like, that could do nothing. I could hope to aggravate him at best, you know? Like, I'd cut him, he would just rip my shirt, and then he would kill both of us. That's best case scenario with the pocket. I don't know how to use this knife in the middle of the day, much less I'm gonna wake up out of a dead sleep and have some kind of knife skill I've never had before. So what we do is we sleep strategically in our bed to, like, prepare for an attack. You know? Like, I'm here, like, she's here. She's, like, closest to the door, but it's, she doesn't even know there's a strategy. So it just, I tell people I'm dumb. I'm like, "Hey, I'm dumb." But no one goes like, "Okay." They're just always like, "I bet you're not dumb." And you're like, "Well, I'm trying to help you out here. We're about to have a conversation, so I'm just trying to give you a heads up." Here's a story. I can prove it. If I need it, like, I prove it. Like, everybody's like, "No, we don't need proof." Here's my proof. Is when I was 15, my first job was in Nashville. It was at Opryland theme park. We used to have an amusement park. And I was working, and I'm sitting eating lunch, and this couple sits down, and we start talking and stuff. I was like, "I'm Nate." And the guy's like, "I'm John. This is my wife, Jane." And their last name was Doe. So it was John and Jane Doe. And I was just like, that's the craziest thing. Like, what are the odds of that, you know? Like, that's so crazy. Couldn't believe it. Cut to earlier this year. I'm 35, I'm driving, and I'm thinking about John and Jane Doe. And, you know, I was like, I bet they were lying to me about that. That's how long it took, 20 years, for me to catch on to a joke they wouldn't remember saying. I don't think they would remember it. They'd be like, maybe we did that? Well, it worked. It worked so good. I tried to Google them, because I was like, maybe they're not lying, you know? I'll find them and go talk to them. But I'm sad to report they were murdered. Yeah, it's not good. You know? It's like I think of it like time traveling. Like if I could go back in time, like if I could go back in time tonight and go back to like the 20s, knowing everything I know right now, I don't think I would make a difference. I don't think you guys would even hear about it. I don't think you would. I just don't, like, because I don't have anything to get, you know. Like, I would go back, and I would see, like, some guy on an old phone, and I'd be like, hey, eventually they have phones you, like, carry in your pocket. And they're like, yes, like, how do they do it? I'm like, I mean, I don't know how they do it. I think it's a satellite. They're like, what's a satellite? Oh, I should have even said that. It's like metal. Metal's got to go pretty high in the air. I don't know if you guys are doing... I don't even know if I could prove I'm from the future. I don't even think I could. I think I would just get stuck. Because they would want something, like, who's the next president? Oh, boy. Abraham Lincoln. You guys are going to love him. He's really good. They just think I'm from the past. That's what they would like. It would just look like... They don't have to get a regular job. I would just have to, like, wait tables or something. In the 20s. I would go back in time and do worse than I'm doing right now. I went and visited my parents recently. Here's what, look, I don't know. I was sleeping naked. You just sleep naked when you're drunk. I don't do it normal. I think it's gross. But that day I was like, we should try that. Let's see what that's about. And then I remember, I was like, I gotta put the Do Not Disturb sign on. So I walk and I open the door. Do Not Disturb sign, you can crack the door and it would fit outside. But acting like I was like moving a couch outside. And I was like opening it with my body. And then I step outside and I heard the door shut, which was the most sobering noise I've ever heard in my entire life. I was like, this is not good at all, you know? Like, you're way too far. I'm holding this Do Not Disturb sign, which is pointless. It's like I just walked out to be like a real Do Not Disturb sign, just for the hallway. I was like, don't come down here. We're not ready. So I'm standing there, and I'm like, all right, what are you going to do, you know? So I look, and there's a window. I was like, I could jump out of that. That's easier than having to explain this to my wife. And then I look to the left, and there's a cleaning lady. And she's just staring at me. And the reason she's there is because it's 11 a.m. That's how far in the day it is. And I'm just like looking at it, and look, and I don't have a body that, like, when she sees it, I'm like, you're welcome, you know? It's like, I'm sorry, look, I don't know. So I looked at her, and she knew what I needed, you know? Like, we didn't really talk. Like, I just kind of looked at her like, you know, this happens to the best of us, right? And she looked at me like, it does not happen. She just let me back in my room. When I told my comic buddies, they tried to make me feel better. They're like, I wouldn't even worry about it. I bet she sees stuff like that all the time. And I was like, I bet I'm in her top 3. She might walk in on people naked, but no one ever charges at her naked and then needs her help, you know? Someone might run by her and laugh. No one goes up to her like, look, you're the most important person in my life right now. And I need you to be on board with all of this, all right? Don't ask questions. I'll mix it up like, you know, when you go to